Hello and welcome back to the DC United Kingdom podcast. It is season 3 and episode 17. It has been a few weeks, so I do apologize. I did have a holiday. And the first question I'm going to answer on that one, Aaron, because you asked me that one, how was my holiday? It was bloody fantastic. So thank you very much. As you'll see, I've got a couple of guests this week. Yes, there's more than Daniel. We've got a new guest on the show. So we've got Tom, but we'll get him to do a little introduction just in a second. But Daniel, welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
Oh, like a warm blanket. This just feels right. This is, I missed it, and I'm back, and this feels really good. Like getting into a car with a leather interior. This just feels so good. Being back in front of the microphone, being with my homeboys, being with the DC UK supporters group chat. This has been a really good time, and especially after a tremendous win last night. I'm just tickled right now.
Yes, and I love your analogies, but you don't want to be in a car with the leather seats on an August day in DC, because that will absolutely be burning and you will stick to the chair. You don't want that. But thank you for coming back, Daniel. It is awesome to have you on. But we have our new guy. He is Tom. Introduce yourself, Tom. Give us a little bit of a background to yourself, because there is a little known fact to you that we found quite ticklish.
Yeah, so I am a diehard lifer, DC United. I'm actually, from England, but I've got,
there's no accent there, is there?
If you listen to the accent, I sound like I'm from Boston. I'm
not Cape Town.
Very heavy American accent. I moved here when I was like 4 or 5, but I've always kept in touch with my English roots. And I still consider myself English.
For what it's worth, and I'm gonna bring a little history into this, is because you have the rhotic R. You actually pronounce your R's very, very clearly.
There we go.
I didn't even notice that. But then I suppose I'm English, so I wouldn't notice it.
My mom is also a reading specialist, so it might have just been like,
which I would argue is the true English, because of the fact that since, sort of like whenever the time of, when the colonies broke off from England, they kept a rhotic R, but as England became more, I guess, as more people became affluent in that area, they started sort of having that soft R. So, to this degree, I would argue that you and I are more English than James is.
Oh, cheers for that! But let me just can I just quickly ask you? Were you saying an erotic R? Because that's a bit.
No, rhotic.
Oh, rhotic. I thought you were saying an erotic R, and I'm thinking R's are not that sexy.
Depends on the dialect. Depends on the language and the dialect.
True.
For sure.
Yes. Anyway, we're not going to go into erotica because that's not what this podcast is all about. That's a very different turn.
We're on a.
But we have had some absolute sexy football recently. Yes, sexy football we had last night. But before we do that, thank you for giving you a little intro there, Tom, because it is always good to have someone new. You're a fairly new DC UK member, which is great to see. It is growing. And I tell you what, over the last sort of month or two, it has absolutely exploded. So if you want to come and join us, just head to dcunitedkingdom.com/membership. Get yourself joining in, because it is growing. We've got people from all walks of life in there. We've got people, obviously, majority is Americans, so it's always good to have you guys on. But we have a few of us from over here in England, and we've got some Europeans as well on there, which is awesome. We've got, as she said, Andy Nahar's biggest fan, and that is from Andy Nahar himself. So there you go. Right. Normally we go into a score prediction update, but for this week, we're not going to give an update because Tom is new and we're just going to skip this.
Am I getting hazed?
No, me and Daniel have got a little bit of a bet on I don't know whether you know about this, Tom, but in the league, so the way we do it is if we get the result right, so if it's a win, loss, or draw, we get that part of it right, we get a point. Kind of simple. But if we get the scoreline correct, we then get 3 points. So, but unfortunately,
I love that.
Yeah, Daniel's in the lead at the moment, and which means that at the end of the season, I have to wear a New Jersey Metro Star jersey. Yeah, that's the bet. But Daniel's a diehard Arsenal fan, which means if I win, he gets to wear a Spurs jersey.
Well, Daniel, all my friends, I mean, 4 out of 5 of my very close friends are all Arsenal, like, diehard fans. So we'll chat about those mistakes later.
Piers Morgan makes me almost regret the decision pretty much every time.
Yeah,
Piers Morgan is a team changer.
Yes, whenever he opens his mouth, it's just instant regret. And I just think, why can we just have let you guys keep him? You could have kept him over there, but no, you had to deport him and bring him back over here, and it's just. And then we kicked him off Good Morning Britain TV, which is Britain, absolutely brilliant. That was an absolute glorious day. Anyway, and just for the listeners out there, Tom, you are also a different United fan. You are a Man United fan. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one.
Oh, no, you're very, very right. Yeah, I'm a diehard Man United fan. My dad has the unfortunate life of being named Alex Ferguson. So he used to get like calls and they would be like, is this Sir Alex? And he'd be like, no.
So you mean to say you are not the son of Sir Alex Ferguson?
I am not. No.
No, you're not Darren Ferguson then.
No, I'm not Darren. I'm not Darren. But my dad has always mentioned that to why we left England. To be like, not dealing with it.
I mean, surely they would know from the accent straight away. I mean, he's not. I'm guessing your dad's not Scottish.
I mean, no. He spent most of it. I mean, his family. It's really funny. His family is Austrian. So we have like his dad's side, which is Northern England, Scotland, and then his mom's side is Austrian.
There you go.
So, yeah, we're from Gams, and closest city is Graz.
Okay, yep.
Yeah.
I do know that. I think Middlesbrough played any Austrian teams in Europe back in the day. I don't think we did, but Football Manager, I know from that.
I was going to say our big one is Vienna, Austria. If you know it.
Yeah. Rapid Vienna.
Yeah.
That's Sturm Graz. That's the kind of teams that I know from Austria anyway. Is there a Red Bull team over there as well?
Yeah, Salzburg.
Yes, that's it. Yes, didn't it? Who went?
It's an amazing team, actually. They have a striker, an Asian player.
Yes.
Who's like amazing.
Yes, I know the guy because he had a really good card on their FIFA Ultimate Team.
Did he?
Yeah, his pace was just insane. So that's why he was really good. Because FIFA, all you need is pace, and that's it. But
I want to say his name was Hui Chan.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I mean,
he is very good.
I'll look it up later.
Yeah, he is very, very good.
Very good player, really broke out of his shell, and he's like 22 years old. So
great future ahead of him then. Get him to DC. Yeah. Speaking of getting people to DC, I'm going to kick off with the big news. That's just happened as of today. So we're recording this on Thursday, the 5th of August. Excuse me. And it has been announced that Messi is no longer a Barcelona player. I mean, granted, his contract actually had run out and he had already been a free agent, but they were hopeful of renewing that deal. But you know what? Let's have him at DC. I mean, why not? I've already tweeted out saying that we've got Gressel who will bang in the assists for him. We've got Kevin Paredes who's willing to learn from him. And we've got Andy Nahar because, Nahar's just an absolute legend. And and we've got Bill and Gold to keep the clean sheets. So where would Messi fit in a DC team?
Well,
because you've got Ola Kamara, the greatest MLS goal scorer of all time right now. Daniel's like regretting his quote from earlier on in the season. So it's 5,000% that he's just absolutely against Ola Kamara. Yet he's leading the way in goals per minute.
So I will say, well,
I love that.
There was a big
no. Honestly, like I am humbled and delighted by how he has come along in the past few matches, and I am sorry I doubted him. Really, that it's pretty incredible the way he's been able to find his form and really just banging goals. And I will say you were agreeing with me for a while.
I mean, I was a little bit because there was cul-de-sac Kamara. He was always in his little area, always offside.
Yeah.
But honestly, since I think as the team has got more used to the way we play now, the Lasada ball era, he's just found his feet. Gressel started to find him a bit more. It's just down to Kamara's consistency of putting the ball back into the back of the net, because if he was consistent, he'd already be in double figures. He'd probably be the leading goal scorer in the league. It's great to see. And it's a shame about his smile because he got that chipped tooth in the game against, was that Cincinnati, that one, I think?
Yeah,
it was Cincinnati.
Midweek game, Cincinnati.
And that bust split tongue. Oh, I don't know whether you saw the picture on that one. I think I shared it in the group.
It was gross.
It was
gross.
Absolutely horrendous. But fair play. I don't know how he carried on. He carried on until halftime.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Seeing that and being like, oh, like this guy just like took it on the chin and just like.
I mean, literally took it on the chin.
I mean, literally took it on the chin. And this guy just like kept going. You're just like, wow, like.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I respect that.
Footballers generally will get I've got a bit of a reputation for going down far too easy and being a bit weak when you compare them to, say, rugby players. But the way Kamara just was lying there, just spit it out. Yeah. I mean, it looked like there was a tooth that came out there, and there's a lot of blood, and it's like, yeah, sod it, I'll just carry on. Why not? And I think he had it. We drew 0-0 on that one, but it was good. But anyway, back to Messi. How would you feel? Because we generally will play a 3-4-3 at the moment. And you've got Paredes, who's playing on the left, out of the front three at the moment. It's normally him or Perez. Yeah. So, and then Reyna's been playing on the right. You've got Paul. I'm like, hang on. Who would I replace out of the? Because Messi usually is the lead guy. Yeah. But right now, I really wouldn't replace Kamara right now. And who would have thought you would say that?
I mean, you'd have to, here's the thing is we still have questions about Kamara's consistency.
Yeah.
And, for what it's worth, I mean, he would be a perfect super sub in that situation.
True. Yeah.
And I think, I feel like it's important that when you have a veteran, like when we had Rooney come over, that it's important that they're not just coming over here to build their own brand and to get a paycheck. Yeah. Right? You really want someone that's going to have like that impact on the rest of the team. And that would be amazing FC game.
I mean, every game would be sold out. I don't think you would see an empty seat in the house for any other game going forward with Messi involved.
Would be up 200%.
Yeah. It would be difficult to get into that ground. 100%. Sure. It would make life a lot more difficult for the casual fan to get there. I reckon it would certainly turn the crop of casual fans now into more solid fans, and that would be amazing just from that aspect. But then you'll have the results on the pitch. But then you look at a lot of these players who are aging, and you look at their recent form. You look at Gonzalo Higuain, who thought he'd come over here and just smoke a cigarette and just bang goals in, but he's found it tough. You look at Zlatan, he found it tough. He didn't. LA Galaxy is the only team he's played at that he's not won a trophy at.
Yeah, I mean, couldn't even get into the playoffs.
Yeah. You've then, I mean, Chicharito took his time getting used to the league. And granted, he's had an absolute storm of this season, but his first season was very, very tough. Rooney, to a point, wasn't the out-and-out goal scorer that we were hoping he would be. He was more of a deep lying forward who would chase the game down and do more assists rather than score. I think the era of the aging player coming over here to pick up the paycheck has kind of now gone. So
yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I hope so. It's the MLS is looked at, or has been looked at as a retirement league.
Yeah.
And you kind of want to kill that off. It's like, no, this is serious. This is just like a different format in terms of the league and playoffs. So it's kind of nice to see. Actually, next opponents, Montreal, you have Victor Wanyama coming.
Yeah.
From Tottenham, he's an amazing defensive midfielder. So it's gonna be, a tough challenge. But he came here at 29.
Yeah, but he's suspended.
Yeah, because
We'll talk about that in a bit, though, and the reason why he's suspended because that was quite funny to say the least. Any other thoughts on a Messi situation, Daniel?
I think it's funny to sort of dream and get caught up in the hype of it, but for what it's worth, he ends up in Paris, England, or China. Whichever. Whichever.
I don't think China.
There is very few clubs that can foot the bill that Messi requires, and it's ridiculous. It kind of sucks, but yeah, that's just the truth of the matter right there. And that's probably why DC even put out that tweet, because they even know they can't even sniff that price point.
No, absolutely. But saying that, he would bring in the revenue just from shirt sales. Maybe it's not to cover the full cost, but you would see the reputation of the club just go to a whole new level. And it would certainly put the club on the map. But you're right, we wouldn't be able to afford it. We would go into so much debt, and it's just not worth it. Just for what you'll get, maybe it's two seasons out of it.
I mean,
if that,
he's still a prime player.
It's true, yeah.
Well, and then just think of the TAM limitations, and just I don't even there's no club under this sort of financial regulated system that we have. I'm sure with the billionaire owners that MLS boasts, if they got rid of those constraints, sure, Messi could be floated some serious money by MLS. But yeah, just the way the league is structured, it would just be a impossibility to bring him over here.
Yeah. The only way I see him actually playing in MLS is if he signs for Man City.
Yeah.
And he gets loaned to New York City.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the only way it's going to happen.
And we don't want that.
No, we really don't want that. No. But genuinely, that would be it. Or he'd get shipped off to Australia and play for Melbourne City. That would be hilarious.
The Jets.
Is it the Newcastle Jets?
I think it's the Newcastle Jets, yeah.
Oh, no, that would be funny. Just seeing Messi playing in Australia. That would blow my mind. Right. So other bits of news. We'll move away from Messi now. So in terms of American stuff, we've obviously had the Olympics on recently. The US women's national team, they were knocked out in the semi-final by Canada 1-0, but they have got that bronze medal. Yep. Cool. So fair play to that. They've actually still managed to pull through and actually get something from the games. But more importantly for us as a club, DC United. The US men's national team won the Gold Cup. Areola was captaining in the final, and Donny Pines made an appearance in the tournament, which is just awesome to see. And so, Donny, if you're listening, we're proud of you.
In the short of it, England stumbled so America could run.
Sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
I was going to say, what
are you on about, Daniel? What are you on about? All we need to know is the USA brought it home.
Yeah, and that is, and that's just the way of things, is that America brings it home.
I was going to say typical American.
Yeah, claiming that we're the first to everything and win it all, and nobody wins anything else.
No, but yeah, it's super great, especially seeing. I think, speaking of Pines, I think he has a good shot at being in the World Cup qualifiers. And quite possibly in the World Cup squad. He performed just really solidly. Didn't see a whole lot as far as him, letting a lot get through. So, Pines is I think a lock at this point. As far as Areola goes, he's had a couple of knocks. He the past couple of years have just been so rough for him. And I hope he's found kind of his footing, his fitness, and can stay sort of at that level. Because seeing Areola and Pines in the World Cup qualifiers and then ultimately in the World Cup would be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I agree with him completely. I mean, it's a really exciting team, but the one thing that's always in doubt is that back line.
Yeah.
And it's like, is this a team that can actually do something? I always give my American friends crap for getting knocked out of last World Cup by Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
And
no, that
was painful.
Dark times.
Yeah. I mean, that was like a rough time, but yeah. And obviously there's so much better now. I mean, they have so much talent.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I kind of just want to see that showcase, and there's a lot of attack. But I really want to see, players that step in, and I hope that Donovan Pines can be part of that.
Watching the growth of Giazzi Zardes, over the years, he is becoming, I think, just month by month, just a more complete striker as a player.
Is he your number one USA striker?
I would say so. I would. He is.
Are we talking about the same Zardes? Because I'm thinking Zardes only gets his goals because he's very fluky.
And that is the thing.
Right guy,
that
right
was
time.
The joke. Is
yeah.
It's funny because whenever I see a player make a nipple goal, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a Zardes goal right there.
Did you say a nipple goal?
Yes.
A nipple. That's the first for me. Nipple, as in this thing.
Goal? Oh, I can't use that for the rest of my life.
Of which I think Kamara, we can credit one of Kamara's goals as a nipple goal. Or no, I think he missed a very clear nipple goal chance a couple of games ago. So but
fantastic.
Kind of so I think to a degree, that is a reputation that Zardes has built up over the years. But I think as time has gone on, as he's become just more comfortable, and I think just the fact that being within the Berhalter system, in Columbus, and then with the national team, I think there's a continuity there that is just so much better for him in his growth as a player. And I think just watching his progress over time, I'm really impressed by how far he's come along there.
It's true.
No,
it's true.
I agree. And it's kind of cool to see that like we had a Gold Cup team.
Yeah.
That like was really pushing, really was at times dominating. And it makes you think like, where are we going to get in the World Cup? We have Sergina Dest. We have Dest. I mean, we have Yedlin, and who's probably going to play the other side. It's such a exciting team, and it just shows the progress of soccer in the US. And I'm excited.
Weston McKinney is
insane.
Becoming a monster. He's one of my I watched him when he played in Germany, and man, he was making strides even just like in his early days there. And then when he made his move to Juventus, I was like, yeah, they get it.
You're like, they know.
Yeah,
they know.
Yes.
He is just one of my all-time favorites right now, and super happy to see him making an impact on the team.
No, definitely. Right, let's move on to DC news. Sorry, I'm just going to do a quick thing to stop the recording from ending suddenly, because we don't want that to happen. But DC, after last night's game, we are now 4 games unbeaten, which is very, very awesome. So we'll go through the results in a brief moment. So in terms of those ones, since the last show, we've had 5 games. 5 games in the space of 3 weeks, I think it is. Which is a busy time, and August remains that. I think we've got 9 games in 27 days or something daft like that, which is just madness. But there we go. The recording is no longer going to just randomly stop on us, so we don't have to go to a break. So that's all good. So
the first, both of us just go.
What? Now we are now on unlimited minutes, which is awesome.
Beautiful.
Yes. It's so the first game that we had since the break, podcast break, is Philadelphia 2, DC United 1. Assad picking up the goal in that game, but we'll just gloss over most of these. The following game to that was a tie with Chicago, 2-2, where we scored 2 goals in the space of 7 minutes overall, but it was 2 goals in the last 10 minutes. We made it come back. Paredes and Kamara getting those goals. So Kamara's 5,000% right there. DC United versus Red Bulls, Metro Stars.
I was at that game. Yeah.
I think you were wearing your t-shirt at that one, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yes. Where we beat them 1-0. That was a fantastic result. Ola Kamara bagging the goal on that one as well.
Very cool.
Yeah, Gressel was absolutely phenomenal in that game, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, from that game, I remember how DC didn't have the ball the whole time. We weren't dominating possession. We weren't doing a Man City press. But when we got the ball, you could really see that we were attacking that final third.
Yeah.
And I mean, they killed it. That ball to Kamara was perfect.
There was a few of them as well, wasn't there, from Gressel to Kamara? It was just Gressel was finding him consistently.
Gressel was definitely player of the game. For sure.
I think he was actually voted man of the match as well, wasn't he? From that. Because there's that ball to where there's the goal one, and then there was the volley, which Kamara fluffed. And then there was that another throw ball, which was a bit more central, if I remember rightly. And Kamara just couldn't get it out from his feet. Didn't want to take it on his left foot.
Sometimes he gets stuck on a cross too. So
but we won that game. We kept a clean sheet again.
Beating a rival. I mean,
it's been nice.
It was a chippy game too. They had about 7 yellow cards in that one. So Yeah, no, looking at the app right now. You had about 3 reds from New York. Oh no, so then it was, sorry about that. No, yeah, four yellows from New York.
Yeah.
And then
I was like 3 reds.
3 reds. Which game was I watching?
Sorry.
Who?
Well, the following game, has been on my mind for a little while, but
Yes.
Cincinnati.
Yes. But yeah, frustrating seeing just like, kind of that degree of aggression that's not necessarily and I think we'll get into that with what Losada was talking about recently.
Yeah, definitely. So the following game to that Red Bull one was the Cincinnati game, as Tom, you just mentioned there, where we finished the game with 9 men.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a sore point. Especially for me, I get why Nyman was sent off, because he was last man. He pulled Brenner down, and I think Brenner made a little bit of a meal of it. But still, if you're going to feel that touch, you're going to go down. You can't blame Brenner for anything on that one.
But Nyman, I feel like the Nyman red card kind of had to happen.
I mean, Brenner would have scored.
Yeah, I mean, one-on-one, you trust Bill, but it's also in a moment you have to think about the player, and the player did what he could to help the team, and that was to pull that man down.
And the only thing on that one for me was Nyman should have just cleared it. He had ample opportunity to either just kick it out for a throw-in or kick it all the way back to Bill.
Yeah, I don't know why he was taking such big touches.
Yeah,
as the last man.
Yeah, but then he is young. He's 17 still, I think, off the top of my head. So he's gonna be prone to these kind of mistakes. But I mean, you saw straight away he was gutted. He knew he'd done something wrong.
I know. I felt so bad for him, man.
Especially when he had a goal disallowed as well.
Yeah, and he is such a prominent player. He's such a guy that he commands a presence whenever he plays. And it's just cool to see someone who's at such a young age to be able to put in that effort and have such an impact. And I don't know, man. I felt so bad for him. Yeah.
As I said in the last episode we had, there has always been a mental sharpness to Nyman, and I think that was just one of those things. It was going to come at some point. He was going to get caught in a moment, and so that's one of those things. That's not indicative of who he is as a player. That's just something that will happen from time to time. Like you said, there's no malice there. He knew right when it happened that he didn't mean for it to happen like that. So really unfortunate. But again, we got out through it. I think that game was a sort of testament to what DC United is capable of in terms of how they can kind of band together, hold on, and come out alive with that game. So they were put in a tough situation, and they came through really well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was really laughing because Dave actually called out my old high school soccer coach, who's Joe Zhao, who's now coaching so Joe Zhao's the son. Philip Zhao is, the dad. Philip Zhao was my coach in high school at St. John's in DC. And now I think he coached Howard, and now he coaches the Baltimore Rays. And it was cool to Joe, who's now on Cincinnati, used to come to all of our practices and basically just kick our butts. And literally we would do 2v8.
Oh.
And Philip and Joe used to just run circles around us. I mean, they were both just amazing. So seeing him play is very cool. Last time I saw Joe play, actually Cincinnati went down to 9 men.
Yes.
That was when, and I mean, I think that's the worst DC game I've ever been to.
It was pretty depressing, that one. No, it wasn't a good one. But we were on the other end of it this time. So, and Cincinnati still haven't won a game at their new stadium. I'm just glad we weren't that team that they were able to be. That was always a worry. And then just to round that game off, Mora with his second yellow, which was in added time. I'm always a bit dubious when you get a second yellow in added time, because you think,
like,
as a ref, you think to the ref, you think, look, we've got a few minutes left. Just calm it down. Let's get through it. If you do one more, then I'll send you off. But this is your final warning. But no, it's MLS. The refs are just like,
I think it was also something that the home fans were asking for.
Yeah.
You know, like when someone plays aggressively or they get a yellow, and after a while, like everything they do, it's like yellow card.
Yeah.
So I think it was just ref, answering the fans.
Yeah. So let's move on to the game from last night. Yay. Oh, what a game. Right. So for those who are regular listeners, you'll know what I'm about to do. I'm about to run through the stats. So Tom, get ready for these because they're good stats.
I was going to say, I'm new.
You're new. Right. So the game last night. So obviously we won 4-2. Absolutely phenomenal. Stats wise, possession, they had, to be exact, 69.9% possession. So we'll round it up to 70. We had 30% possession in the entire game, which is not like us. We're usually a lot higher than that.
Yeah.
We were outshot as well by 15 shots to 9, which is, again, quite unusual. We're usually, it's the other way around normally. On target, though, 5 each. So, yeah, I think we done okay there. Let's have a look. What else do we normally go through? We weren't offside at all in this game, which was, which is good. We had 0 offsides, but the crew had 2.
Considering we had Reina and Kamara.
I'm surprised.
I'm majorly surprised, yeah. The one that always gets...
I was like, really?
Yeah, no offsides from us. I don't know how it's happened, but we'll allow it. And then fouls-wise, it was 15-10, and we committed more fouls in that game, which, again, isn't a huge amount of a surprise considering we were the away team. The fans were obviously going to get the ref up, and annoyed the hell out of me when they were booing Bill when he went down injured. That was really, and I think they booed Nahar as well when he went down injured, when he had an issue with his eye. So I'm glad the fact that straight after Bill went off, we just went down the other end and just went, nah, we're going to score.
I mean, I'll let Valentine lead on this one. It was just upsetting.
Yeah, definitely. But right now, we're going to do something a little bit new. We're actually going to go to Hernan for his post-match press conference remarks. So let's just hear from Hernan.
Well, you already know all the injuries and all the problems we have to find 11 players. So I won't waste any time on that. But I will use that to congratulate all the players who get the minutes, all the players who are coming into the field, fighting for each other, no matter who is starting, no matter who is playing as a sub or on the starting 11, they are just giving their life for each other. And before the game, I showed them 2 things. The first one was the unbeaten record of Columbus Crew at home. The last time they lost was 7 October 2020, and they just published that today before the game. So when we saw that, for us was like a big motivation, coming here as an underdog and try to break that record. And the second thing I showed them was no player of DC United on the MLS All-Star game, which is painful because I believe there are many on our team who deserve to be there. And that maybe it's due to the fact that DC was not good enough the last couple of years, that maybe we lost a little bit the respect of the league and of the fans. And little by little, with this big heart and fighting spirit, we are coming back in those spots where DC United deserves to be. So I'm very glad for the guys because they deserve a lot more compliments than what they're getting right now. And we are a family, we are a team who's willing to die for each other on the field. So about the game, we came with a plan, with a clear plan on pressing them on the right moments. We scored two out of our 4 goals by pressing moments on the right, with the right timing, with Jordi, with Kevin, and with Ola. They did amazing. And then was kind of a medium-low block and play on transition. And this team can do that. That first ball vertical with running players, and all the goals came like that. And the last remark is, we got a red card last weekend against Cincinnati because the player was going 1v1 with the goalkeeper. Now the explanation we get is that the ball was too far from Kevin's feet, and he didn't have the chance to go 1v1, and that's why it's only a yellow card. Can someone in this room correct me if that's, because that's not the case. Kevin was with the ball and Kevin was going to finish. So why is not a red card? I still can't believe. Maybe because there is a rule that they can't punish in the same action twice, with a penalty and a red card at the same time. So I would like to have an explanation on that, because 3 days ago against Cincinnati, for us was very clear, it was a red card and not for them. Because otherwise it's nothing to 3 on the halftime, 11 against 10, and the game is over. And well, we still have players that are not able to play 90 minutes, like Jordi, like Kevin. We treat him like a king. Ola was coming back from a concussion protocol. Ola is the only number 9 that we have right now fit on the team, and we also wanted to keep him fit for that important game against Montreal. And at the end we suffer, and this team knows how to suffer, knows how to stand up, and I'm still a bit disappointed about the 2 goals we concede, because I always strive for perfection and I really want to keep the 0 and a clean sheet every single game. But due to the circumstances, we get 3 points, but now we lose another important player like Bilamit, that probably will have a muscle injury, and it's another one on the list. But still the positive mood and the energy of this team make me believe that we have a chance against every opponent, even when we are only with 11 players and nothing else. So congratulations to my team and the efforts they did. And when I say team, it's not only the players, it's the whole crew behind the team working in the shadows that make whatever it takes to help these players to be ready to play.
Guys, what did you make of Hernan's post-match press conference quotes? Because there was a few juicy ones in there, especially towards the end with the sending off remarks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm welcome to go first. You kind of see he was sort of like, especially in American eyes and MLS eyes, that this is a coach that like you don't really know. But you know, if you really followed his career and the kind of tactics that he puts out, you can actually tell that like he really cares about his team.
Yeah,
he
hugely
cares about each player, and he puts his heart into it every single night. And yeah, I mean, you know, Hernan can be a little emotional, but he cares.
Yeah. I mean, you heard his voice in there and he was croaking, and it was just like, you could see, especially with the celebrations, as the goals went in, he was going full pelt and celebrating.
And he loves that jacket.
That bomber jacket. Oh, I mean, he wasn't wearing it in the game last night, but I think he was wearing it in the Cincinnati game, and you just see him, and he's just like, you make that look far too good. It's really annoying.
Well, in the Cincinnati broadcast, he even made a comment about it. They were like, man, that looks really good. And they were like, yeah, that's a Mitchell and Ness joint. I'm like, yeah, it is.
I mean, you know you're doing something right when you're making the opposition team's commentary comment on your jacket.
Yeah.
But no, it's I think the first thing we'll just kind of run through it. So he was very happy with the way the players played, and those who were involved, because obviously we're starting to creep back up the injury list, and the amount of players that we're getting on there. So it's starting to get back to where we were at the beginning of the season, but it's not quite there yet. Let's be a little bit positive, Daniel. I'm looking at you here.
Well, I have to keep on wondering, is Loudon okay? Are they okay? Because they seem to, on a weekly basis, they get a call from Daddy DC, and they're like,
"This Daddy, wait, say that again.
Can we have
Daddy DC?
Daddy DC."
They're like, we got a skeleton crew as it is. Like, can we get? Who do you need? Like, can we work something out? Who do we have? I don't know. I don't pay a ton of attention to Loudon United, so maybe they have a squad.
Loudon games are really fun, actually.
Yeah,
I'll attest. Yeah,
okay.
They're awesome. I mean, first of all, you can get good tickets for like $30.
Not
but,
bad.
but it is exciting to go. You go and you see players that, like, if they're good enough, they're good for DC United.
Yeah.
Right.
And did we send Sorga down there for one game just to recall him back? And we were like, yeah, we're going to keep Bolivar as well. So you're just going to lose someone. We're not going to trade you any loans.
And that's what I mean.
I feel like some people get sent down there for like a lesson, and just to be like, hey, look, like, I don't want to be harsh, but
yeah, I mean, it's true. It is a lower league team. The quality's not as good.
Those player benches are not as soft as they are in Audi Field. So
I mean, they've only just managed to get working toilets there, for crying out loud.
Yeah,
and I think they've just had working showers as well. It's just like, that stadium was not ready.
They are very cool games to go to. I will say, if you want to go, so I go to baseball games for this team called Big Train Baseball in Maryland, and it's like a minor league baseball team, but like, it's all about the atmosphere. And I feel the same way about whenever I go and see Loudon. It's like, yeah, it's not like first division, I'm not going to see like the best players, but like, these are guys that play their heart out, and it's cool to see that. And the atmosphere is great at Loudon.
Yeah.
So
I think, is it the Stampede that you've got there, as in terms of like the fan group kind of thing, Loudon Stampede?
Yeah, they do the Stampede, and then it's kind of weird. It's kind of like high school bleachers.
Yeah.
But I always get there. I'm like, okay. But it's very cool to see. It's a team that tries very hard, and I especially love their commercial that they play on the DC United stream every single time.
Well, when the guys celebrating in the open goal, it's like,
and he's got his foot on the ball, and it's like dun 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 dun.
For those of you who aren't, if you've not been able to watch the DC United stream, there's some. I mean, I'm lucky enough to be able to legally watch it. There's some cracking adverts. I think there was towards the end of last season, there was an advert which still included Ben Olsen after he got sacked.
No, did it really?
Yeah, that was a bit awkward.
Didn't know that. Oh, yeah.
It's which one is it? It's the advert where you've got the player who's lying down on the bench, and they've got the guy who's really just digging right into him, massaging him.
I don't know.
It's one of the orthopedic ones, I think.
Okay.
I think my favorite are probably the Eagle Bank ones.
Oh no, I hate those.
Well, that's why I love them.
It's too loud.
So like, are you kidding? Like, this guy is screaming in a bank, and this is what we get, and this is our sponsor.
It's just a horrendous advert.
Oh, it's horrible. It's horrible, but I love it.
It's memorable. That's the problem.
Yep. And I'm sure they'll keep it for like a year. at least.
Anyway, back to actual football. Should we actually go back there? Back to Hernan's remarks.
Yeah.
Somehow we've gone off on a tangent. Another thing that he said in there was he's really pleased at how they're giving their life for each other.
Yeah.
A little thing that crew were banging on about before the game was how they were unbeaten since October last year.
Yep.
Yeah, spoke too soon. And then basically they used that to help motivate the team and to try and actually break in that run. And he also used the fact that there was no DC United players in the MLS All-Star team, which he was really disappointed by because he believes that there's players in there. And I think he's right with that. There's a few players that should be in there. I think Gressel would be, for me, my top player that should have been in that team.
I agree.
Hamid only didn't make it because he hadn't played enough games by the time the votes went out. He was one game down, which is really, really frustrating. But, it is what it is. There is those rules in place. And the only player I would have said would be deserving of a place in there. Actually, there's two, Nahar and Paredes. I think those two would have been a good shout for the team.
I mean, I'm obsessed with Paredes because he's just insane he nutmegs everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was the Cincy one, wasn't it, where they decided to put some music to it. I was just like, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Our on the field journalist, I can't remember her name. I'm so sorry.
Claudia Pagan?
Claudia.
Yes.
Yeah, Claudia put up a great video of Kevin going through and nutmegging this guy right on the end line. And it's just like, this kid gets it. This kid knows.
Oh, yeah.
Well, as the famous DC United chant goes, they say our days are numbered. We're not famous anymore, but DC rules this country like we've always done before. And so, there are times where, yes, at a certain point, DC gets overlooked. And, we have a ton of history and, we haven't done a whole lot in recent times, but this is a team that has quality players. And I mean, it is shocking, with even Andy, how well he's really come on with the team. Between Gressel, Andy, or Paredes, I'm shocked that none of those players got a nod. So but that's sort of our perspective. We follow this team so closely, and I think this team's going to have to knock a few heads to get people to realize they're the real deal.
Yeah, definitely. Other things that you obviously came up on was the game plan was clear for the team. It was all about the press, which I think is kind of the plan for every single game, it feels like, but it worked an absolute treat in this one, especially with the 2 goals that came from, as what Hernan said, pressing at the right time. It was a little bit annoyed, struck, frustrated, which I think I took that from the tone he was the way he was talking, at the lack of the red card for Columbus and that penalty decision. Was told that it was a yellow because of the fact that KP didn't have the ball, but he did have the ball. It's just like, right. And how VAR didn't turn that over, I don't know. VAR looked at it. That's what Dave was saying on the broadcast.
Dave was really upset.
He was. Yeah. He was fuming about it.
Pretty upset about it. I think that's just like modern game and what we get now. I feel better about actually having someone reviewing it and looking over it, determining it. They're going to know it better than I do, obviously. But I mean, the goal that always comes back to me of this is what made VAR is the Frank Lampard versus Germany goal, or not goal.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me about that one. Cheers.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah. But I always think about that to be like, this is why we have goal line technology. This is why we have VAR. And it's like, you don't know if it's the best thing, but like it's, it's better that than knowing and not getting the answer.
And I have to say, MLS does it really well. Out of
do.
all the countries that are using VAR, I think MLS is one of the top countries in terms of how they use it. If you look at the Premier League, I just don't even want to talk about that because it's just abysmal. But you look at the Euro 2020, that was absolutely spot on. I think they did it really, really well. It was quick, it was efficient. The refereeing was absolutely top notch on that one. Other things one last thing actually was about Kamara being subbed due to coming back from concussion and the fact that they wanted to rest him for the Sunday game, which is, I think, is a wise decision at this moment in time. And Bill's got a muscle injury, which will mean he's probably out for at least 2 to 3 weeks at the very minimum, which means he misses probably about 4 games, which is annoying, but there you go.
Schedule.
Daniel, you had hot facts listed down.
Yes, but before we go into that, I think Hernan has a point. In you look at the past couple of games and the number of yellow cards that are being addressed to teams. I don't know what it is, but they're with a team as injured as DC United is, it makes one wonder if there's a degree of headhunting going on. Because you look at this game, you had 3 yellow cards from Columbus within the first half. And then DC only had Alfaro picked up a yellow at around the 65th minute. So, I wonder, like, to a degree, like what is the level of headhunting happening, especially, because that's a strategy I would not doubt is something that teams go into, especially when they take on another team that is facing a lot of injuries. I don't necessarily want to say like that's a organized or planned thing. But yeah, I think Losada has a right to kind of be upset about the way things have been going on with his team. And I will say, as someone who was a former youth coach, there was so I coached in the DC Stoddard Youth League, and there was this
I played for the travel team.
Nice, very nice. There was a team that named themselves Barcelona, and they were possibly the dirtiest team I'd ever seen. The level of sort of like the foot stepping, like
animosity,
ankle tackles was upsetting. And even for me, like I'm like, I'm kind of a caretaker of these kids, and like I was about ready to like Hulk out on the ref because at the end of the game, I'm like, what is your name? What is your name? And he told me his name, and I sent a very stern email to the Stoddard League after that game.
You're like, this guy
absolutely, he murdered my children. And I was very upset. So yes, to a degree, like I get that, like Losada is like, well, what is going on here? And yeah, he has every right to be upset about that.
No, definitely. So go on, Daniel. Hot facts.
So, so go ahead of the game. Columbus was touting the fact that they had gone undefeated at home since whenever in 2020. DC answered by breaking a second record for them. So Losada pointed out that they broke that record of defeating them at home. But this game marked the first time in 10 years since Columbus gave up more than 4 goals or more in back-to-back games.
Wow.
So not only breaking the home undefeated record, but also bringing up a record from 10 years ago and say, hey, add us to this list. So that, that's Losada, whether or not he was aware of that, or, but like, I think he wanted to do something in this game. So I think that's fantastic.
And just for people who don't know who that previous game was against for Columbus, where they conceded for, was New York City FC at the Yankee Stadium, that well-known soccer-specific stadium.
Yeah,
not gonna go down that road. That's for a time when we actually play New Jersey City FC.
Yeah,
depending on where we actually play them, because they haven't got a home stadium right at the moment.
I just want to add real quick.
Go for it.
On top of that, I think the chip that Losada has come into DC on his shoulder with, I don't know what it is. You could have fooled me if you said this was his first year coaching with DC United.
Yeah.
He has a holistic understanding of the culture in DC, what games mean the most to the team, and why they mean the most to the team. For whatever it is, I think he's just a really studious coach, and I think he goes beyond just the tactical end of it, but into the historical context of all of these games, and the fact that he sort of embodies all of that history right there is super impressive.
If you look back on the interview that I did with Hernan back earlier this year, so that's season 3, episode 2, for if you want to go back and watch that one after this one. We were talking about his history and how he plays and the way he goes about his business, and he will just literally watch games upon games upon games just so he knows what's actually coming up. And you look at his Instagram stories as well, you can see he's watching loads of different MLS games, ones that are not even looking at even involving the clubs coming up. It's just crazy how much he loves this game, and I'm all for it. He's a fantastic guy. He loves that side as well. He loves the tactical and the analysis side of things, and I think the fact that we've brought on this company to automate that process a little bit more as well. So if you go on to DC United's Twitter feed, you'll see that we've brought a company on from Paris to basically, we set the rules for our tactical analysis for each game and analysis of different plays and things. And the system, this AI, will do it automatically for us. So instead of us having to watch the games ourselves and doing all that, we could just load it into a system. This AI will do it, compute it. And I think when I was reading, it was about 3 hours. You got all the information that you need. It's just...
wow,
absurd.
It is unreal. Lucy Rushton's brought that on, our new general manager, isn't she? Yeah. It's fantastic. But go and check out that episode because it is a fantastic interview. He was still in his hotel room quarantining when I was able to interview him. He hadn't even visited the city yet. So that was a good interview to get. And Hernan, thank you for following me on Instagram as well, because it's great. There was one there. I put a little story out, and the first person to view it was Hernan. I was just like,
no way.
Yeah. I actually told you, I know this is sad. So Hernan, if you're listening, because I know you actually do sometimes listen to the show. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit sad for this, but we adore you.
Sappy.
I know, it's just like, I've got to take a screenshot of this. And I was like, Hernan's the first person to look at my story. It's the only, I think, actually, no, it was when I sent out the story about asking for questions for tonight's show. Wow. It was earlier on this week, and he was the first person to view. I was like, yeah, he still didn't ask a question.
Yeah.
Got to work on that one.
I would love to play right back. I can play 4 to 5 minutes. And
well, 45 minutes. It's 4 to 5 minutes.
4 to 5.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go and goal because I know Bill's now out injured. So I'm. Oh, Tom, I haven't told you yet. I'm 6'10".
Are you really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep. There you go.
My dating profile says that I'm 6 foot, but I'm 5'11".
Hey, yeah.
We've always got to exaggerate, but no, generally I am 6'10". It's just crazy. So Donovan Pines.
That's absurd, yeah.
Donny Pines, he's only 6'5". He's got nothing on me.
Wait, so I'm the shortest?
You and I are the same height, actually. 5'11". So yeah.
So I was gonna say you can sit on my shoulders and we'll beat them up.
Well, yeah.
No, honestly, I'm so looking forward to coming back out there and actually beating everyone, so everyone can go. Well, I've obviously been out a couple of times, as we were talking before we started recording. So obviously met a few of you guys out there, but it'd be good to get out there and we'll actually do a proper DC UK meetup, because that's going to be
awesome.
That's going to be insane. That is going to be off the chain, to say the least. So shall we preview this weekend's game?
Yeah.
So
let's go.
So we've got Montreal coming up this weekend. I don't know whether they are still in the Impact or it's Club de Foot or Club Foot de Montreal. Club de Foot. I mean, that sounds like you were beating someone's foot up. Because, geez, some of the team names. And to be fair,
they took a really French direction on it.
They did. I mean, to be fair, they are French speaking, so you can't argue too much on that one. And I do kind of like their badge. It's understated. It's got a nice little meaning to it, and it's not Columbus Crew. So in their last game, they drew against Atlanta 2-2. They were down to 9 men, but Atlanta were down to 10 men, which we'll actually talk about very shortly, because Wanyama and Camacho are both suspended. So the club captain is out, and he's out because he decided to put his hands on Joseph Martinez's throat. It was a bit of it was a bit disappointing in the end, because you saw the clip and it looked like it was a big punch up, but then you watch the full thing and it's just like, oh, I was going to go like this.
The clip that they put out made it look like this was some big bust up.
Yeah.
But you actually watch, like 20 seconds before and 20 seconds after. This is just like a moment where he just like grabbed them. And I don't know. I mean, where they're just running on emotions.
To
be honest.
And to a degree, that is, I think it came to a head in this game, for the fact that like they have not had a good run in the past 3 games, even before Atlanta. So they lost to New England, they lost to Inter Miami, and they are just really struggling right now. So. Yeah, New York City actually was the other team that they lost to as well. So going on a 3-game, now 4-game losing, or sorry about that, going on a 3-game losing streak, and then giving up a 2-goal lead to Atlanta to tie that game. So 1 point in 4 games, that's a rough state to be in, especially for a team that has quality to it. There are spots on that team that are really good. Jordi Mihailovic is a quality player. So if that is a reflection of Wilfred Nancy's management of the team in recent times, it's a weird thing to see with Montreal. So I'm optimistic coming into this next game.
When they had a great start to the season as well, which just baffles me as to how quickly they've gone downhill. But it's the way it is. This is how MLS goes. It's just you can't go wrong at any point in the season, because you do slip down that table so quickly. You look at us at the moment; we're now in 6th.
Yep.
And a few weeks ago, we were down in 10th and 11th, that area. So we've just suddenly shot up because we're on a 4-game unbeaten run right now. Just a little known fact on this, on the Club de Foot Montreal's Impact's head coach, Wilfred Nancy. I share the same birthday as him.
Oh, wow.
No way.
Yeah. There was something about him. And I think there's something else about Wilfred Nancy. Talk amongst yourselves. There was something else.
Did you have you felt a personal horoscope connection?
No, there was something else. What else was it about this dude?
I know literally nothing about Wilfred Nancy.
Oh, it's not Wilfred. It's someone else in the coaching team.
Okay.
Let me just see if I can pull that up.
I've always, every time I watch Montreal play, I always think about the days that Drogba was on that team.
Oh, that was insane.
Such an odd, like, such a big, prominent player. I mean, we all look at Drogba and we're like, wow, that is probably one of the best strikers you're going to get.
Yeah.
And he's a Chelsea player, and I don't like to talk well about Chelsea players, but
well, it was great. Like actually getting the chance to see him play, like in the flesh.
Yeah.
You know, every time you know, I think especially Andrea Pirlo. I really kind of look forward to when New York would come down to DC because he's one of my all-time favorite players, and just seeing
I don't like Italians anymore.
Fair.
I'm very standoffish now.
Yeah.
But no, Andre Pirlo, I mean, what a guy. What a player.
Yeah. I have found the link.
There we go.
There we go.
Right,
so
we stalled perfectly.
Yes, we did. So on my current Football Manager side, I'm managing Middlesbrough, my team. Currently in like 26, 27 season. I've won the Europa Conference League. I've won the Europa League.
Football Manager is great. Yeah.
But the link. So I signed Ethan Ampadu from Chelsea, and I looked at who his dad is. And he's assistant coach at Montreal, Club de Foot Montreal.
No way.
Yeah, Kwame Ampadu.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was just like, I look through the profile. It's just to kind of get to know the personality and things. Just so when you do the interaction with them, you don't go when they're like softly and because that's just. Gotta love Football Manager for that because you can't throw the bottle.
Watch this back just to see that moment.
Oh no! Someone's going to screenshot that and send it to me, aren't they? Oh god. But yeah, then I saw Kwame Ampadu. I was like, I click on him, and he was assistant coach at Montreal. I was like, oh, well, there you go. There's a nice little MLS link.
Crazy.
Yeah.
What?
So there you go. So MLS UK show. If you need a UK MLS link, there you go, Kwame Ampadu. There you are. All right. Anyway,
I suddenly have Thierry Henry on my mind, and I'm like, is he still at Monaco? Is he doing okay?
Oh, he's Belgium now, isn't he?
He's in.
Yeah, he's the assistant.
He's back there.
He's the assistant coach for Belgium right now.
Yeah. So he
has a really good relationship with Lukaku.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he obviously was Montreal's head coach, and then he left because of family reasons, and then went straight to go back to coaching Belgium.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think about him, and I think about Patrick Vieira, who's now at Crystal Palace.
Yeah,
and you think about ex-players being coaches, blah blah blah, and him and Thierry is just like what?
Yeah,
crazy.
Thierry's not. I mean, there's some players who are just not built to be a head coach, and I think unfortunately Thierry is one of those guys. And you look at the likes of Phil Neville.
Oh, you mean Villarreal? Was it Villarreal?
No, that was Gary. Gary Neville was at Valencia.
Valencia.
Phil Neville
was England.
He was the England women's head coach.
Yeah.
And I think he did. Did he go to Spain? I think he did have a spell in Spain, but I don't think he was a head coach. I think he was just a normal coach.
I don't know. I only remember Phil as the head coach for England because he put a awful tweet out one day.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, who doesn't put an awful tweet out these days?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, someone who decides to call Lasada Ball Benny Ball.
Yeah. I was wondering if that was going to come up.
I was going to refrain from it, but I've had to go and say it. Yeah, I mean, you know, Phil Neville's only managed England and Inter Miami, and he's doing awful at Inter Miami, but he still beat Montreal.
I forgot he's that Inter now. Wow.
I think Henri's problem is, and this was a problem he had in New York, is he just thinks he's better than every single player on the field.
And I mean, to be honest, he is.
I mean, yeah, in most cases, he is.
Yeah.
I don't. So he doesn't know how to manage the emotional aspect of players. So yeah, I don't know. That's probably a good.
There's this great mentioning, emotional standpoint. I will send you guys a video of Thierry Henry, and it's just like a voiceover of him on the sidelines, and he's kind of abusive.
Yes, yeah. I think I know the video you're on about, because that was wasn't that against DC? That clip.
It might have been, yeah.
Because it might be in the game before that one. Because I remember seeing it around the time we played it
on his own players.
Yeah. But to be fair, he did lead them to victory against us, so we can't really say too much. But anyway,
we don't have to talk about that.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about that one. That was the Chad Ashton era. As him as head coach, which, to be fair, he did all right. Anyway, back to previewing this weekend's game. So they're on a 4-game stretch without a win. They're currently 8th in the Eastern Conference at the moment. So they've played 7 teams, so equal games to us. They've won 6, drawn 5, and lost 6. They're on 23 points at the moment. 23? Wow. 22. Yeah, 22. Sorry, my maths was a bit bad there. Their away record, so this is obviously an important factor. So they've played 9 games away. They've only won 2, they've drawn 2, and they've lost 5. So they've lost the majority of their games on the road. The previous game against us ended 0-0 when we played them, not at their ground, they played at Inter Miami, but away from home. We dominated that game because I think we had 27 shots to their 3 or something daft like that. We just couldn't find the back of the net, but I think the way we're playing at the moment, I don't think we're going to have a problem with that now, especially if the Gressel Kamara link up continues, and if Nahar can find Yori Reyna, like he did in that cross with that headed goal, which was just unreal.
I was so happy he opened his account.
It was just the way he did it as well. It was that I'm going to run away from goal and I'm going to head it back towards it and find the bottom corner. It's just that is, and I think it's such a difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
And then the final thing about this weekend's game is a kickoff time, which on the East Coast is 8 p.m. Central time for you, Daniel, is 7 p.m.
Yep.
And then for us over here in the UK, it's 1 a.m. And for those in Europe, which I know we've got people in DCUK who are in Europe, it's a 2 a.m. kickoff.
Oh, Emma, my condolences.
Oh,
I was going to say,
bless her.
Emma, shout out.
Absolute shout out. I mean, I thought I was absolutely mental for staying up all the way through, but fair play to Emma for keeping with us. I don't think she was with us for the last night's game, but yeah, it's when you join us and you stay up till the late hours to watch the games, I think we can all give a little bit of respect to each other for that, to say the least.
I mean, I don't know what's more impressive, staying up or finding a link to the game. No,
I mean, I have no issues. I don't know what you're on about.
You're good. I mean, you're good, but I'm thinking about
I think Emma, I need to start out with a VPN to get onto the sites. I shouldn't really be talking about this, but hey ho. I know one of the lads who isn't in the Twitter group because he doesn't trust himself with Twitter. I've asked him to come onto the show once or twice, and he doesn't trust himself because he might say something he wishes he won't. So, Stu, talking about you. But he's now got himself a VPN, so he's all sorted out. So there is ways that they can watch the games. If you had no VPN, you can usually watch them through a betting website because they usually broadcast over here anyway. You just don't get any commentary whatsoever, and it's usually very, very poor quality. But you can hear the head coaches on the sidelines. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
I mean, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I mean, just because we're talking about DC and, being international fans, the New York game, I actually brought a friend of mine who lives in my building to the game for his first MLS taste, and he's a Newcastle fan.
I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
Just a little bit disappointed. And I told him, I was like, look, like MLS and Prem are really similar in a way. Like, you know, Newcastle's not very good, and that's fine. And like the quality of play might be different, but like it's like going to a Newcastle game.
Yeah, and the atmosphere is brilliant. I think atmosphere is far better than I mean, granted, the chants are not quite as good as what we have over here, because we like to have a little bit of fun with the chants. I mean, I think
he bought a jersey, so I think he's you know, getting stuck in.
Nice. Dan's come and join us.
Yeah, I keep telling him to come and join. I bought like a Paredes jersey, and he bought one with no name, and he was like, "Oh no, like I just want to keep this forever."
Blank will never let you down.
Yeah, I mean, you should. If he was going to be a proper DC United fan, he should put own goal on the back.
Or if he wants to be a real DC United fan, he gets a custom jersey with Boscovich on the back.
Boscovich,
because that is my deep cut all-time favorite DC United player. Was his like year and a half, his year and a half, because I loved his set pieces. I thought he was just fantastic on those.
What a great throwback player too.
Right. So that's well, and especially like, you know, God, you know, he's also kind of like a deep cut, you know, European player. Who I think was just quality. He spent some time with Paris Saint-Germain, and I think he just showed a lot of creativity and vision with his set pieces, and that's that. You know, I'm a set piece guy. I love watching those, he's one of my favorites.
Yes, I think I will. I think I will always be a counterattack kid. I love being able to watch the transition switch, and suddenly you've got like three dudes going up the lane, and I love it. But like, I think being a Man United fan, that's why I don't like set pieces. But
Wait, what are you talking about there?
We are not going to set pieces.
No,
I think we let in. I think we let in the most set piece goals, apart from like West Brom last season.
I mean, you're pretty good from 12 yards out because you get plenty of chances at that.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, it's ridiculous how many times Man United get a penalty. But we're not here to talk about Man United, are we? Come on. Let's move to the actual proper United team.
I was going to say the first United team.
Yes. Right. So, based on the fact that the club captain of Montreal is out with suspension, they're doing pretty poor at the moment on a 4-game winless run. They don't have a great away. Sorry?
They're also going to be missing Camacho.
Yes.
He also picked up the red.
Yeah. They're pretty poor away from home. They've lost the majority of their games. Yeah. It's time for some score predictions. So I'm gonna let you a little bit off the hook here. So I'm not gonna get you to go first. So Daniel, let's hear your pessimism, because you know you're always pessimistic.
Well, here's the thing.
No, don't be optimistic.
You didn't
I was gonna say, I was like, whoa.
You didn't listen to me earlier because of the state that Montreal is in at the moment. I actually feel pretty optimistic coming into this match. There are some keys that I think need to be in place for this prediction to come through.
Yep.
Kempen, I believe he's a solid goalkeeper. I do not think he'll maintain a clean sheet, because if I were managing Montreal, I would want to focus on kind of a long ball play. I would want to put it over the top and try to get into the feet of Mihailovic. He's right now, I would say, their biggest attacking threat, kind of their main attacking threat right now. And he is going to be a guy that, the deep lying midfielders are going to have to keep an eye on. And to a degree, I think Kempen will have to be more vocal. I think that is the difference between him and Hamid. Is Hamid really embodies the sort of field general, keeping that back line organized, aware of what's happening. What we saw with the Columbus game is that in the confusion of it, and this is where their goals kind of came from, were in moments of confusion where, bodies kind of piled up into the box and no one was really communicating where the ball was, what was happening. And that was very apparent in their second goal where, I can't name the Columbus player who scored that, but he very cheekily kind of kept watch on it and moved into position when Kempen parried it away. So he was in to a degree, like Kempen, he was caught out of position. He did not sort of shut off that wide angle into the net. He sort of lost track there. Luckily, I mean, we came back and we were able to kind of put the dagger in. But I think Kempen just needs to be way more vocal to let that defense know what's happening. And that's a quality that Hamid has always had. Secondly, I would say that they just need to play that high press. I think, like I was saying with Montreal, I think they'll have to focus on the long ball. I think DC is just going to have to cancel that out altogether. I think they're going to have to get into players' faces and not allow them to have an accurate ball downfield. So with that said, if those two components can happen, I think DC comes away with a 3-1 victory this weekend.
Damn, he's so
So Tom, based on that, are you, from what you just said there, are you going 3-1 as well then?
I agree with Daniel that without Bill Hamid, we are going to concede a goal. I think that's just something we have to accept. It's probably going to be a set piece. It's probably going to be messy. That's fine. And I just think that, the one thing Montreal is going to do is they're going to put as many shots as possible, because you've got a goalkeeper who's not regularly a starter, and they're just going to test him.
Yeah.
And I think we will concede one, but I kind of think that we're going to see a Ola Kamara goal, and then we'll probably get scored on. And then I think we're going to have a set piece goal, someone like Frederick Berlion. And I'm throwing it sideways. I think that, he's a guy that can get up and can drive that in. And
he is the French David Luiz.
He is the French David Luiz. So, I mean, 2-1.
2-1. Oh. Okay. So, my turn. So, I agree with you guys about the fact that we're going to concede goals, because it's going to happen. But I don't think Kempen starts this one. I think it's going to be Chris Seitz, because I think, I genuinely think it's going to be Seitz, because the way Kempen flapped in the game when he came on, I think that, to me, that says I can't really trust him. Like Seitz, who's already played quite a few times in the league, is a little bit more solid than Kempen for me. I think he's more tried and proven. So I think it'll be Seitz, but I still think we will concede a goal, possibly 2. But I think we're running on good form at the moment in terms of putting chances away. I see another 4-2.
Oh, that's such
another 4-2.
Another 4-2. That's what I'm going with. I mean,
I like that.
Yeah.
I hope you're right.
It'll be a great game again if we get another 4-2. But I think Kamara's he is bang on form. I think Reina is going to be flying on confidence now after he bagged 2 goals in. I think Paredes might sneak a goal, and I'm just waiting for Nahar to get the goal. Yeah. I think we're all waiting for that to happen. And I think if he can do it at home, do it at Audi, I think that's just going to be insane. That roof, well, I would say that roof would absolutely fly off, but what roof?
I was going to say. Our 16th roof.
Yes. But yeah, I think 4-2 for me. So we'll go for that. So we've got a 3-1 for Daniel. We've got a 2-1 from Tom, and we've got a 4-2 from me. So we've come to the last bit of the game, the podcast, which is the fan questions. The game, yes, it's all a game. It's all we ever do. So we've got some fan questions sent in. We've had 4 of them come in. I've already answered one of them, which is at the beginning of the show. So thanks to Aaron for asking me how my holiday was. I got sunburnt. I'm afraid to say I was proper English and proper Northern. Suntan lotion everywhere, even on the top of my head. Wearing flip-flops. Did I do my feet? No, I didn't. No. I had lobster feet. And I had the white marks where the flip-flops were.
Yeah, that's the best.
You're a flop tan.
Yes. And my feet right now are peeling like mad. It is just horrendous down there. I would show, but it's not suitable for TV. So yes, Aaron, it was a good holiday. I just got sunburnt and drank quite a bit of beer.
Fair.
Yeah, and took quite a few photos as well because we were staying down in sort of the Cornwall area. Nice little cove area called Watergate Bay. Very nice cliffs, and I need to eventually put them out on my Instagram at some point, even though, I don't really use that one. Just use DC UK now. Speaking of which, if you want to follow me on socials, Facebook, it's DC United Kingdom FC, same with Instagram, and on Twitter, it's at DC United Kingdom. Get on it. Right, fan questions. So Keenan, over on Instagram, when I sent out the story to ask for questions in, he's asked, assuming everyone is fit, who are your ideal choices for the back 3? Tom, I'm going to come to you first on this one.
Oh, that's hard. I think we have to have, if Knus is healthy and we have Frederick Brilliant and we have Heinz Eike, then that's going to be my 3.
So you're having Knus at the back?
Sorry?
Did you say Knus?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. I would want Knus to play that stopper role.
Okay.
Mainly because he does have pace and he is mentally sharp in playing a center back role. And he's actually played before. He played it for, I think it was like 6 or 7 games back in 2019, and he knows it well.
Yeah.
And he is a midfielder, but he's also a defender.
Yeah, that's fair. That's cool. Daniel, who's your back 3?
I would go probably Heinz Eike, Birnbaum, and Pines.
Yeah. Maryland boy.
Yeah.
Yes. For me, that's pretty much the same. So I think Heinz Eike on the right side. Yep. I'd have Pines in the middle because he's got that bit more pace about him, so he can cover more ground. And I would have Birnbaum on the left-hand side. But then that leaves the tricky situation further up the field because then you've got the likes of Nahar, who's been outstanding at centre-back this season so far. Then where does he go? It's a tricky one. But I like the fact we've had this question in because it shows actually, for once, we've actually got really good depth.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we've lacked for so long. It's actually good
it's
depth.
The best problem to have.
Yeah. So go on, Daniel.
I think you would probably have him and Knus as kind of like deep lying midfielders. That's how I'd kind of structure that.
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah.
That for me, that would work. It's such a good thing to have that depth and actually think, you then think about actually who are we playing, what style of players have they got, because then you can adapt who you've got into that particular situation and think actually we'll have him on the bench, we'll have him as an impact player, and it's quite nice. So thank you for that question, Keenan. It's a really good one.
Great question. Yeah.
Second one is from Victor. Again, over on Instagram, has asked, which players from the UK should DCU look at for potential signings? It's a tricky one because sorry?
Sorry. I have a player in mind that I'm just like, yep, this guy.
Go on then.
I think not even, I mean, it's not going to be this year. It's not going to be next year, but I think eventually it should be Antonio from West Ham.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think he's a player that works harder than anyone else. And I think he would work really well with a Lasada ball tactic style. And he's used to being someone that can like go up and play the high pressure. The one doubt I have is, can he stay healthy? But he's probably my go-to, like, this is someone I want to see in DC.
I never even thought about him. That's a really good shout.
Yeah. I'm like 2 years down the line of like, this is who I want. This is who DC should get. Yeah.
So for me, it's been a huge struggle to think about this one, because when I've thought about players and I've thought about the level MLSs, I've been looking at sort of the championship level. In terms and looking at sort of the younger side of players. So there's one particular player from the borough who I would love to see play over there, which is a guy called Nathan Wood.
I know Nathan. Yeah.
He's got pace. He's got a good brain on him. I think he would do quite well, especially again in the Lasada ball where you do need that pace and you need that strength as well. I think he would do really well. And it's nice to not think about the top ends, because we always think, when you think of you're going to bring someone from another country, you always think striker, forwards, attackers. Because that's the guys who make, in perception wise, they make the biggest impact because they're the ones who put the ball in the back of the net. But if you don't concede, you can't lose your games as well. Yeah. So there's that side of the coin. So for me, I was looking at that. And for me, I would have Nathan Wood.
Yeah, I feel that same way about Ipswich's Wolf Enden.
Yes, great prospect.
He's so good, and he's way too good for Ipswich. I'm sorry, Uncle Peter. Sorry, my uncle is a sponsor for them.
Hang on, what?
Yeah. So my uncle was the team doctor for like 10 years.
Remind me, surname? Was it Thwaites?
So it's Peter Woods.
Peter Woods. I'm thinking of something else then. But that's insane. So
he was a team doctor, and then his company were the main sponsor for Ipswich. So I went to 3 games with him, like last Thanksgiving, or no, I'm thinking pandemic year. So year before that. But I mean, it's cool.
That's pretty cool.
And then this guy I saw play, and I was like, oh, this guy, like, he knows. I saw them play against Wickham, and who's Akinfenwa.
Oh,
who's
actually,
like...
can we have him?
Yeah, like, oh my Lord. This man.
You look at the MLS defensive, just across the board, they're not that strong. So having someone like Akinfenwa, I just go,
he's a
beast. He's a beast and a half. But Ipswich now have Ed Sheeran as their sponsor.
Yeah, I know. I keep getting texts that are like Ed Sheeran as sponsor, and he's now made it so that it's his tour as a sponsor. And it just looks so gross.
The snake has ate his tail.
And I remember like sending a Facebook message to my uncle and being like, "You okay with this? Like, this is that okay? Like, that's kind of
It's a
choppy.
It's a bit dirty, that tactic. That is not great.
Yeah, I mean, he's promoting his tour on, your club shirt, and
that's horrible. He must be paying a lot of money to do that. Anyway, Daniel, who would you have from the UK?
So, your show's gonna drop in ratings now because not only do you have a filthy American on here, but I'm gonna out myself as a filthy casual, because when you're talking about these up and comers and championship level teams, I'm like, in my defense, so the championship is not something that's ever been widely available, or I guess conveniently available in the United States. But being that ESPN has put up a lot of money right now to get the championship on ESPN Plus, but also they're getting I think La Liga and France are going to be on there. Or no, I want to say it was La Liga in Germany. Anyway,
I know La Liga's on there because I've seen the tweets about that.
Yeah, so there's
more
La
Liga, definitely.
There's more European competitions coming on there. So I think, that's going to expand my horizons a little more into kind of like beyond the surface level, big six teams, and then the well-known players. But yeah, you really got me on that one. That's terrible.
So are you taking a pass on this one then?
I'm taking a pass on that.
Fair enough. So you can answer the next question then.
Okay.
Which is from Stu. Stu Cotton.
Sounds like goddamn.
Yes. Stu Cotton, who is a DC UK member and a long-time listener as well. He's asked, there's kind of two questions, two in one. Who's DC's best signing so far this season? And who's the best signing for MLS in general? Oh, I know. It's a good one, that one. So you took a pass. So
I have to be front loaded on this one.
Yeah. So let's just start with the first part of the question. Who's been the best signing for DC so far this season?
Oh, I know.
And I want to say up until his injury and absolutely gutted about it, but I would have said Perez is probably that.
Yeah.
I think there's a ton of potential there, and the injury is disappointing, but the way he came in as a spark and someone who really fits in well with the Losada Ball system is a great prospect. I think he's going to make a big impact overall.
Yeah. I think from your reaction there, Tom, I think you're on the same wavelength.
Oh yeah, that's who I was going to say.
Yeah.
He's had such an impact, and he's perfect for Losada Ball. So
yeah, I think we're all in agreement on that one. I think Perez, for me, it's the fact that we got him from the re-entry draft. We've not paid any bucks for him in terms of obviously his salary, but that's it. I think value for money wise, he's certainly right up there. I think if I was going to pick a runner-up, I'd probably go with Roberta because of the impact that he's had in the short space that he's been able to play. Obviously, he's had a couple of knocks as well. But that goal against New York City, that was a tidy finish. It was just the fact that he was just going, I'm just going to knock it past you, take one touch, knock it past, and then rifle it with my weak foot into the top corner.
Yeah, he's been a great grab. I think
Big Nige, as I like to call him.
Big Nige. If I have to pick a second, it's gonna have to be Andy Nahar for me.
Oh yeah,
cool. Yeah,
great shout.
Yeah, it's the comeback, and you can tell what a vet he is. Like on that team, you look at it and it's like, oh, this guy's been on this team for 10 years. It's like, no, like this guy.
He had a break
at one point. Yeah,
that's why I actually haven't picked him, because I genuinely, Nahar, I just think of him as just he's been here for donkey's years. But no, that's a fair shout. So yeah, sorry, Andy. You probably are the set. You're probably you're the runner-up. In MLS, best signing.
I don't want to answer this one.
No,
So.
it's a difficult one. I suppose I don't really take too much notice of who the other teams actually sign.
I'm always interested to look at the college players that come up. I went to middle school with a guy that he ended up being the captain for UVA, and they won the national championship soccer that year. So I'm always very interested to like see who's coming up, see like, you know, what MLS is producing, just because it's like growth in soccer in America.
Yeah,
it's amazing. And in terms of best signing, I mean, I'll defer. I have no idea. in terms of best signing,
I'm going to defer on this one as well, Daniel.
I am desperately looking through the. You know what? I will say probably Mihailovic from Fire to Montreal. Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
cool.
that's fine.
There we go. We'll go with that.
That's mine too.
Yeah, that's we're in agreement on that one as well. So there we go. Those are the questions that were sent in. If you guys out there, if you're listening or if you're watching, I will look at the camera for this. But if you want to send in any questions, feel free to at any point. You can drop me a DM on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Feel free to. I'm always open for DMs. Doesn't matter what you say to me on Twitter. I'm always open for DMs. I'm just gonna leave that one there. Just not about comment on anyone else on Twitter on that one. Anyway, we're coming up to the end of the show. So Daniel, as always, thank you for taking the time out to come on, and thank you to our new guest, Tom, for making an appearance for the first time ever, making your debut. What a fantastic debut. It's like you just scored a hat trick, so you can take home the match ball for this one.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. It's very cool to, you know, be able to express my own opinions about DC United and footy in itself. So
I like the fact you just called it footy.
Yeah, it's footy.
Yes, not soccer, not football, footy.
Oh, no, it's footy.
It's soccer. It's soccer.
Soccer. We're playing soccer.
There's a great picture of it's Jose Mourinho walking next to us. I think it was at the MLS All-Star game or something like that. Yes. But one of the mascots is holding up a sign that says it's called soccer, and you've got Mourinho walking right next to it. And it is just kind of, I lose it every time I see that picture. It's so good.
It is a fantastic one. I do love that one. It's brilliant. Right, let's wrap things up. So I normally do a little where can you find you? So Daniel, as always, where can people find you if they want to follow you on any socials?
Easy enough. On Instagram and Twitter, it is S Dakota Soccer.
There you go. Nice and easy.
Absolutely.
Tom, if people want to follow you, where can they find you?
Do people want to follow me?
Okay. Well, why not? I follow you.
No, it's at Snitch McConnell on Twitter, and on Instagram it's at Tom Ferguson 94.
There you go. And for myself, I've already said it once or twice in this show. So it's at DC United Kingdom on not on Instagram, on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. It's DC United Kingdom FC because DC Comics in the UK decided to take DC United Kingdom. Gits. Boy. Absolute gits. They've not used the Instagram accounts since like 2017. I was like, just give me the blooming name, for crying out loud.
Yeah, you're just shaking like.
So I've sent DMs to that account, just like, just give me it.
Just give it up. Yeah,
just give it. You're not using it. Just give it to me. I'll take it over. I'll look after it. I'll treat it well. If you have enjoyed the show and you want to come and support it, as we've mentioned throughout the show, there is a little international fan group. It's not official in any way, shape, or form, but we have many of us, and it's always growing and it's always fantastic to see new people come in.
Great in the game group chats.
Oh, it's unreal. Yeah. It's just exploded recently. So
I think I'm there for that. Great in the game group chats for sure.
Definitely. So head over to dcnightkingdom.com/membership. It's absolutely awesome. So do come and join us. If you want to support in any other way, there is merchandise, as you can see. Me and Tom are proudly wearing right now. Look at that.
I'm nice little man out here.
Yes. We've got to sort you out, Daniel. We've got to and look, because Tom is a member, he's a paid member. He gets a special shirt. He gets a name and the year he joined on the back of the shirt.
Nice.
Yeah,
look at that.
I was actually very surprised by that. I was like, oh, 21. Oh yeah,
it's 2021. Yeah. I think for anyone who renews, I've kept a note of membership numbers. So I'm thinking I'll put membership numbers on the back of the shirts for the next round.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So if you want to do that, same link, but you'll see a paid section on there. So come and join us on that. Merchandise, as we've just mentioned, t-shirts, as you can see here, wall tapestries, which, as me and Tom were talking about before we recorded, this is the smallest size. It's flipping huge.
Wow.
So there you go. But there is other things like pint glasses. You can get DC UK socks if you really want to, because I don't know, why not? So go ahead and go and do that. But there's also other things like Patreon, and there's a new thing called Buy Me a Coffee. So if you want to buy me a coffee to get me through these long nights watching the games, head to buymeacoffee.com/DC Night Kingdom, and you can buy me a coffee. Or I think I've labeled it as buy me a pint, because I'm English and we like drinking beer. So that is it.
You don't want a coffee at 1 a.m.?
Nah, I'd rather have a beer. I would not go to sleep if I had coffee at that time of the day.
Yeah, no, too late.
Yeah, unless it's a 3 a.m. kickoff, which I've done before. I think it was the San Jose game earlier on this season. I went to bed at like 8 p.m., got up, and that was me done for the day. And I stayed up to like 11 p.m. So I was up for a ridiculous amount of hours, 20 hours, I think it was. Feels like today what time did I go to bed last night? 3:10, and it's 12.
Oh boy. Oh, we got to save you. We got to.
Yeah, let's end the show. So thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch or Twitter, thank you for listening. If your preferred method is using your podcast player of choice. So let's win this next game against Montreal. Let's make it a 5-game unbeaten run. And from all of us here on this show, until next time, Vamos United.